Coming up on iOS today, Rosemary Orchard and I are pumped because a bunch of new games just hit Apple Arcade. So that means it's time to look back at Apple Arcade and see what games we're playing, what games you might be excited about. Plus, of course, news, our app caps, and your questions answered. Stay tuned.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Yeah, there we are. We've swiped our way back into another episode of iOS Today, the show where we talk all things iOS, iPadOS, tvOS, watchOS, HomePod OS, and all the OSs that Apple has on offer. I am one of your hosts, Mikah Sargent.
And I'm the other person, Rosemary Orchard.
Hello, Rosemary. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. I've been playing games this week, and I love the fact that I get to do that and actually say it's part of my job. Because it is.
Yes. There are things about our lives that are pretty blessed. And I think that that's one of them, getting to play with apps and tech and all that kind of stuff and make that part of our gig. It's important to remember that from time to time. Yes. The exciting thing is that Apple Arcade, which is Apple's subscription service for games in the App Store, $4.99 per month is the pricing for when it was originally announced. And essentially, it was a way for developers to create games for the App Store that would kind of, on the developer side, it was a way to kind of give them the space to create games and make them to the best of their ability without needing to worry about the financial stream so much. Whereas apps that exist outside or games that exist outside of that space have to look to either, charging a good amount up front or doing free to play type gaming where you start out free, but then there are in-app purchases for things and coins and all sorts of in-game currency, or they run ads as part of the game. So with Apple Arcade games, there are several kind of benefits, as Apple sees it and as many people who play these games see it, to being there, which is if you pay the $4.99 per month and get to play the games, they are ad-free. They're all available to play. You can play them locally on device, so you don't need an internet you don't need to have internet access for many of them. There's no in-app currency that's tied to like real money. That some games, as you play, you gain coins that can then be used for things, but it is not a way where you could also pay to buy these coins and things like that. So all of that also paired with Apple's commitment to privacy and security, which Apple points out is a very important thing. So that's Apple Arcade. But recently, Apple put out an announcement saying, hey, we're bringing a bunch of new games to Apple Arcade. And I believe we talked about it a little bit last week. Because they had a bunch of classics that they wanted to bring to Apple Arcade, plus some new games and everything in between. So, of course, this week we wanted to talk about the different games you can play in Apple Arcade across a bunch of different devices. So, Rosemary, tell me about some of your games for Apple Arcade.
Well, I deliberately skipped over the games that we mentioned last week, the classics, because I love Fruit Ninja and Cut the Rope and things like that as much as anybody else. And they are great games to play. And so I have, been digging around in my Apple library looking for the Apple Arcade games that I play. And the first one I'm going to talk about today is Crossy Road Castle. Now, I played the original Crossy Road, and it's one of those games I've kept installed on my Apple TV because it's actually quite fun and easy to play. So, in a world where you can have guests and people can come over and you say, hey, do you want to play a game? It's pretty cool to just be able to roll that out and everybody can give it a go. But Crossy Road Castle on the iPhone, which is what I've got here, is pretty fun. So I've gone through and played a little bit because playing it on a touch screen is a bit tricky at times. So you have left and right controls on the screen, so you can go forwards and backwards, and then you have a jump button. And I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do here. There we go. So I do this, And now I have to shoot myself downwards. So I appear to have managed to do that. I survived. And I go through to the next level. So it's a simple level-based game. You are I believe that's a unicorn. It's a little difficult to see. But if you can just go forwards and backwards. And once you're in a level, you have to do it. And you've got a couple of lives, 3 of them to be precise. And you're trying to collect coins as you go, which means that as you go up the level, you're trying to get all of the coins on the way. Some of these levels, especially at the beginning, are a lot easier to get through than other levels. Though I have to admit, the first one on the iPhone, on a touchscreen in particular, is a bit tricky for me. The first level stays the same pretty much all the time. But then as you progress through the levels, you see different ones. And it's not the same every time. So if I die here and then I restart it, so as you might have seen, I just lost a life. Then you will get a different series of levels, which makes it fun to go through every time. And so I'm just gonna have to wait. There we go. And now I can hopefully, at some point, maybe get through here. I don't know if I'm gonna manage this. I don't quite know how I'm gonna get out of that now. Oh, there we go. Darn it, I'm stuck. Well, I think I'll leave it there. I will note that this one is a little easier to play in landscape mode. If you tilt your iPhone to landscape mode, it just gives you a little bit more space on the screen. The controls aren't covering what you're seeing. And similarly, it's actually one of these things, all the things with Apple Arcade are available on iPad, iPhone, Apple TV, and the Mac as well. So you can play them on all the platforms. Now, I do find that playing this on my iPhone tends to be what I do, because it's nice to have games in your pocket. So if you're sitting there waiting for something, you can go and just pull out a game and entertain yourself for a little while. Or if you've got other people with you who want or need entertaining, then you've got options for them too. But I find actually an external controller is really useful with some of these. So we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yes, that's. I absolutely agree with you on that one. There are games that play better with controllers, and you and I both have different controllers that we're going to talk about, and so that's kind of exciting too, because we've both played with some of them and kind of have different takes on that. The first one I want to talk about is a new game that Apple has announced or has included with Apple Arcade. And this one is called Star Trek Legends. I'm a Star Trek fan. And so anytime it says, hey, here's a game you can play that has to do with Star Trek, I'm on board. So you can see I launched the game and it says, hey, we need your permission to download critical updates. This is also needed for multiplayer gameplay. We only download what's required for the game. Is this okay? And this is what I was talking about before. This game lets you play offline if you want to, but if you'd like to get new updates for the game, then you can choose yes and play. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can see there is a controller button. So I could tap on that and that lets me know, hey, controller support is available. And then I can use that controller to play the game. So I started a game earlier, and this is a turn-based game. And I'm kind of going through the process here. So it says, open the transporter. And scanning the strange ether within the Nexus, you detect a life sign that matches Starfleet records. Slide the console to beam them aboard. Who could it be?
It's Q, isn't it? It's got to be Q.
It's Worf.
Okay.
It's Worf. Hello, Worf. How you doing, pal? What trap is this? I was returning from a visit to Kronos when my shuttle was struck. And now, wait. This appears to be a Starfleet vessel, albeit one I do not know. And then a Cardassian transmission says, Federation vessel, lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. It appears my arrival was timely. Send me over to their ship and I will silence those Cardassian cowards.
Well, he's got his batleth ready, so that seems plausible.
Exactly. He can silence. And look, there's Burnham. We've got Worf and Burnham working together, which is kind of fun. Against these Cardassians. The only thing that bothers me about this is that it is very battle-based, and Star Trek on the whole is not about like killing everybody. The whole point of it is exploration. Discovery
and exploration and, exploring everywhere.
And this is like, when you shoot, they evaporate, they die.
Okay, so that's not stun.
Yeah, the phasers are not set to stun. So it looks like Worf is our tank because he can taunt to force to encourage them to attack him instead. And also it looks like it brings the morale down. So they'll battle him with his higher attack. What is this, I wonder? Phaser burst, 9 times 30% damage and defense down for 3 turns. Let's try it at this one that's got a shield on. Boom, got him. And then their turn again to hit us. And then, a Batleth strike. Yes, jumps forward with the Batleth and attacks. And you can skip the text if you want to, which is kind of nice. If you want to read the story, then you can. But if you just are kind of wanting to play, and then you can go in and start to work around here. So this is a pretty classic turn-based game with little bits where you are building out your ship and making it better and learning more about the story here. And then as you go through, you gain different types. It's RPG in that way, where you gain different types of experience and crew members who can help you. So explore to discover choices and unlock new paths or bonuses during missions. We'll disable the warp core here so that the Cardassian ship can't go away. And then it gave us 15 XP and the morale was dropped for the Cardassians as we work through the ship. So that's kind of a fun thing. As you're working through this battle map, so to speak, the things that you do in the ship will affect how easy it is for you to combat against the enemy, because now all of their morale is lowered because they know that we're slowly moving through and keeping them from being able to run away. So dramatic zoom on the characters, and then it's time. So we'll skip through that. See, there you saw. I
believe I'm recognizing the Cardassian there from Deep Space Nine. So they seem to have mixed all the different series together here, which is great if you are a Star Trek fan, because you can try and remember who exactly is who from which series.
Yes, and that part is a lot of fun. And if you've got your favorite characters too, then you can think about how fun it is to come across them as you're playing. And so, Captain Picard maybe will join the ship, or you'll find his ship and end up working with him. The ship that you're on is called the Artemis, and it's flying through to help these different crew members. And look, it's time to bring a new crew member on board. Who's it going to be? It's
Spock.
Dr. McCoy.
Oh, no, Leonard McCoy. Sorry, the eyebrows and the low poly.
They do look a little Vulcan, don't they?
Yeah. I'm blaming that one. And the fact that I just remembered Gul Dukat is the name of the Cardassian I was thinking of course.
Oh, was it? Yeah. I didn't know if you were talking about Gul Dukat or you were talking about Garrick. That's my favorite Cardassian.
No, I think it was Gul Dukat.
And so look, as I was talking about before, you can start to enhance and improve upon these characters. So look, we just upgraded Michael Burnham to level 3, which is pretty cool. And then you can make adjustments there. Again, this is still tutorial. And so that's why it's kind of hard to just show you the different stuff. But you can see that in episode 1 of these missions that we're doing, I've completed To Boldly Go. I've completed disabling the core. And then now there's a mission for defeating the defenses. So Leonard McCoy comes along, and now you've got a fighter, a tank, and a healer to work with you as you are playing along. So that is Star Trek Legends on Apple Arcade. Rosemary Orchard, what's your next one?
Well, my next one is based on marbles. So a lot of people might be familiar with marble-based games and the fact that marbles roll pretty well. And so I have been playing Marble It Up Mayhem. And this is a game, it works really, really well on an iPhone because you hold it in your hands and you can sort of tip your hands. So I'm going to pick up my iPhone for this, and I'm going to just move my glass of water out of the way. So hopefully I don't spill it everywhere because that would not be good. And I'm going to play this in single player mode. So there's multiplayer mode as well. And there's a couple of different ones. I'm going to go back to the first one, which is Get Moving, because that's easier. And I am trying to talk at the same time as play this. So to start with, it teaches you how to roll your marble. And so on. It does integrate with Game Center, as all of the Apple Arcade games do. And there's two modes here. There's race and then there's play. And I'm going to go with play just because I don't want to be, trying to race against myself, I guess. So you can jump, and then you've got an on-screen controller as well, which is really nice. So I don't know if actually tipping your phone really makes a difference. That's what I do automatically as I play. But you've got some bad guys that you've got to sneak around, and you're aiming for this little segment at the end where there goes, hey, you did that in 21 seconds. It's quite fun. And I like the on-screen controls are pretty easy to use. Now, of course, we talked about external controls a little bit, and I am just going to switch back to my view and show people the external controller I've got. And so this, it's got an old iPhone of mine put in there just for demo purposes. This has got, the same sort of controls you would find on, say, an Xbox controller with, you've got the arrow keys, the letter keys, and you've got the two Joy-Con type objects, and then the top buttons as well. If you have an external controller for this, of course, you're going to be using that, so you won't have the controller on the screen. So again, if I start in the next level, you'll see those controls again over on the left. And I believe in the settings, you can actually go ahead and edit your touch controls. So you can move things if you want to. It looks like you can't switch those around. So if you're left-handed, you are going to have to just live with controlling things with your left hand. But unfortunately, that's probably something you're used to. And so
Yep.
I will just roll this along and see how I do. And as you can see, there are kind of bumpers on the sides of this. So it's quite difficult to roll off. Now, that does not remain the case necessarily in all future levels. You'll find that you have to go up something and then you can fall back down to the level below. But I don't think you can ever completely fall off a level. So you can mess things up, but you can't mess things up that badly. But there are times where you're going to need to jump and fly through the air, and so on. And it's pretty cool that it feels very easy to play. That there's a tutorial level, but you're already playing. And as you can see, I've got some high scores against myself because I've gone through this a couple of times now. And it's something that I just find quite enjoyable. It can be a little frustrating at times, but it doesn't have to be, because, when you've rolled through a level, that's it, you're there. And sometimes, I found, oh, darn it, I keep failing this level, on the later ones where it's a bit more tricky. And I just put it down, come back, and 5 minutes later I've cracked it and I'm good. And I like that. And as you can see, if you're watching the live show, there are, instances in the higher levels where you could fall off and, potentially, get lost and die. Only it's a marble. So worst case scenario, it's just gonna fall on the floor. But it's pretty fun to play. And I've just really enjoyed it. I found it quite relaxing. There's bonuses as you get through things. To change your marble and stuff like that. I've not messed with any of that. I'm just having fun learning things as I go. And whenever they introduce a new element such as gems or the bad guys, then you get a little warning on screen that tells you what it is and how to either work with it or work around it. And it kind of, pushes you into that, which I quite like because, you're going to have to use it to win the level or to pass a level. Sometimes there are multiple endpoints and you need to get through all the checkpoints before you can win, and you can accomplish them in any order. It's a great game. It's quite simple, but it's easy to pick up, and it's something I've really enjoyed.
Very cool. Marble It Up Mayhem. It reminds me of, Super Monkey Ball. I can't remember where I played that, on the Wii, GameCube. I think it was GameCube, Super Monkey Ball.
I think it exists on the Wii because I recently bought a Wii for A, nostalgia purposes, and B, fitness. At least that's what I'm telling myself, because I got the balance board to go with it as well. And I'm pretty certain I saw it when I was looking through secondhand games for that.
Let's see. My next one is a pretty big one. One of the big announcements for the what is it that I'm trying to say, for Apple Arcade, which is FANTASIAN, Fantasian is a game that was created by the person who created Final Fantasy. And once again, it is a turn-based game. So that's something to be aware of. But the whole point of this game so far that I've seen is just to kind of work through this stage. You play it feels a very Final Fantasy. But along with let me actually go back to that menu. This is not. There we go. What was that? Y is menu. Another reason I wanted to talk about this though is because this pairs with the SteelSeries Nimbus controller. It is a made for iPhone controller. Made for iPhone is just for folks who don't know, is like a designation, meaning that it works with Apple's products. This is a Bluetooth controller that you can connect with your iPad, iPhone. It works with a Mac too, and use it as a controller for your game. It has 2 joysticks. It has a D-pad. It has your ABXY controls, some buttons and triggers on the back, and you can use this to play. So I will switch back here just to show you kind of how this game works. Hitting B to return. And I am this character who's moving along and, oh no, I was just about to go that way because I needed to get to a platform. And now we can't access that elevator. So we've got to try to find another way. So now we're going to head down and see where this takes us. Aha. So now we're on another platform that has an arm, and one of my little droids here is going to hack the throw trajectory, I assume to allow us to be thrown to the platform we're trying to get to.
This doesn't sound scary at all. I'm
right?
sure you'll be fine. You're not going to die.
Should be okay. Oh, I see. I guess if it destroys the, let's see, risk levels are acceptable. Just jump before we crash. Oh Lord, this is scary. And of course, this has a lot of story involved. So that's something to be aware of. I think, yeah. Okay, here we go. Whoa.
Okay, so you jump on a cube, you're flying, jump off. Wait, yep. You made it.
We did it. And now
you're not on fire. Congratulations.
Save. So what was neat about that is that it was kind of it wasn't as if you just automatically did that. It slowed down and then you needed to hit the button at the right time. And so I was able to hit that button and get through, but I'll need to watch out for, I think this is the way I need to go. No, that's not it. Oh, and this is the thing about Final Fantasy, is as you're walking along, a little bit like Pokemon, you will have encounters as you are playing. So there are 2 skills that I have so far, just a simple fight and a slash skill, which lets me hit 2 enemies. And so we'll do that. They get their attack, and now it's the robot's turn. The robot can fight or put up a barrier. We'll choose to fight, and now we've destroyed that so that I can move along the map again. And so we'll come back. I got some batteries out of that. That's nice. Again, an RPG, as one would expect. Let me see. We are green, I think, and oh, I see. We're white. And I think we need to get to that green platform. So we will come down and come over this way. And, oh, no, that's where we were before. Well, crud. I don't remember which way to go. Let's try up. And hope I don't hit.
That is the beauty of the RPG games, right? You can easily make mistakes and get yourself lost and go on this entire rabbit trail of a story. Then you eventually come back and later you discover that this is really, really easy. Oh, that's because I should have done that earlier.
Exactly. So there are these nice cutscenes where the characters are, it seems more visually appealing. And so this character has forgotten something that happened to it, and it has kind of lost their mind a little bit. But now it seems to be fighting a big robot droid. And part of the reason I wanted to show this game, and Anthony, maybe you can look online to find it. This game was created using real life dioramas, actually created in real life that were then photographed and have the gameplay overlaid on top of them. So it has this really interesting feel to it, where it's partially tactile, and you can tell that it was, these are photographs. This is actual dust and dirt, and then over the top they've laid the game. So it's just it's a different kind of look and feel than you would expect in a game otherwise. So now I'm fighting this giant robot, and you can see again, back and forth. It has turns to play. So it says, casting a barrier can block an opponent's attack. Select the barrier skill icon and move it toward the desired character with the left thumbstick to apply. And of course, that changes if you have a controller connected or not. When low on HP, you can use healing items like potions to recover. And so we will put up a barrier for my character, and then I get to go again. I think, there's an analyze skill. I wonder what that will do. Aha, that lets us see. It's got a lot of health, 3,305 out of 3,500. And then I don't know what all of these little things mean yet. So, there we go. Monster parameters, enemy parameters, the level, their name, their HP, their attack power, their defense, and the resistances that it has. So it's in order of how resistant it is. So 100% means it does normal damage. Less than 100% means it does more damage. More than 100% means that it is reduced damage. And of course, it'll have the word absorb if it can absorb all damage, plus ailments that it can have, including mist, curse, sleep, and poison. And then the items that it's holding. So that's very handy. You can see how that works. And so we will have my little robot here fight the Robo Organizer. And now it's my turn. I will switch my skill back to slash, and then I will slash that Robo Organizer with a critical hit. Now it's the robot's turn. Oh no! Look at that laser. Oh, it gets 2 attacks. It's almost killed my robot. Oh, good, but it's overheated now. So that way, it can't do a move. And now I will slash again, and I promise this is the last round that I'll show for this game, and we will move on to the next one. But I'll do one last attack. I will put up a barrier for my robot because it is hurting. And now we can slash again. And we're making some progress here. Haha, perfect guard. Barrier for my character. And that way, the next time it powers up its big old robo lasers. Oh boy, it's coming.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, scary stuff. But the good thing is,
I feel like we need very dramatic music because, of course, the downside with sharing our devices is that we don't get the music coming through. And I know that my games, at the very least, have had music, and I'm sure this one does as well.
And it looks like, yeah, we can use that. Aha!
Bingo.
Nice. So that destroyed that big old enemy. It was pretty hard to defeat. And now, oh no, I think those nanobots might be repairing it.
Run. I think that is the universal signal for let's run away.
Let us go. All right. That is Fantasian, made by one of the creators of Final Fantasy. What's your next one?
Well, my next one is Slash Quest. So Slash Quest is a fun little game that basically you are playing a person who has been chosen by a sword to go ahead and to restore the sword to its rightful owner. Obviously, this sword is magical. That's how it talks to you to tell you how it, what it wants you to do. And I'm just going to reopen the game that I had. It does say that you can change your controls. And this is one that I found is easier generally to play with external controls on again versus the internal controls. So I believe I've got some people here. So this is kind of like an intermediary mode. So you go through and you do a level, and then after you've done a level, then it takes you to this little area where you can talk to people and you can buy stuff from them, and so on. And then you can exit your interaction with people. And there's an exclamation mark here. So I guess it wanted me to talk to her. There we go. Sorry. Lining up all of my controls is a little bit tricky whilst also podcasting. So there's some improvements that could be made here. And I think instead I will exit that and I am going to go to the map and interact with the map. And I am going to pick Venomous Bug, which is the next level. So I'm on level 3 or 4, but this is not all the levels involved. There are lots of different levels. So Venomous Bog is what it sounds like. It is a bog that is venomous. I have not played this level before, so I have a feeling this is possibly going to go slightly wrong. And as you can see, there's somebody coming to attack me, so I have to try and attack them. And that's kind of difficult to do at times, but I seem to be doing all right. Now, as I attack something, my sword gets longer, which is fun, if a little bit challenging to wield. So there we go. This one is there we go. I think I've managed to kill that. And you get little cookie type things once you've attacked these beasts sometimes, which is nice. Sometimes you need to use your sword to cut through things so that you can get through it, like thorns or something. And the sword is definitely sort of a liability as much as a help at times, because if it's pointing in the wrong direction, that does indicate where you're going, which is useful, but it's also tricky because you end up going off in different directions because you underestimate how powerful this thing is. So there's probably one more of these somewhere around, so I'm just going to keep going and seeing if I can find. There it is. Oh, there's 2 of them. It's not a good thing. So there we go. I'm just going to leave it like this for now, because otherwise I could be playing this probably for hours. But you might have just seen there on screen, a little thingy popped up, and I need to somehow press this or toggle this, but I can't get to it because of these rocks in the way. And so I am probably going to have to go around and through the fog that was down here. The fog is no longer there, so that means it's safer now. Sometimes areas will be foggy, and that's on purpose. Oh, I've got a bomb. Okay, so now I have to get the bomb. I have to take it all the way back to the rocks before it explodes. And again, this is where having a longer sword is useful. So if I put it there we go. So I've exploded the rocks. That is a good thing. Congratulations, me. Now I can put my sword into this, and it activates the bridge. And that's got an extra life on it as well, which is really nice. So if I can get to the bridge and cross the bridge, then I can continue on to the next island where there might be more little bad guys for me to, potentially, stab with the sword. Or there could just be points to collect. And sometimes you put the sword in things and use it kind of as a handhold to get across. Something bad is happening there. So I'm just going to exit that because I don't want to lose all the points. I've been really enjoying this game. It's great fun. And it just starts with you finding a sword and it telling you that it wants you to take it back to the queen. And you're a shepherd. So you don't know what you're doing yet. But it's good fun, and it teaches you as you go, and it's fairly obvious that most things are bad things, and it generally won't let you kill good things. But there are definitely times where it's genuinely been challenging in a fun way. So you set your sword on fire and you use that to set thorns on fire, or you put a bomb on the end of the sword and you transport the bomb so that you can then blow up some rocks that are in your way or something else. And it's really interesting. I think it's cute as well, which is nice. It's pretty, but it's not super high resolution and so on. So somebody's got an iPhone SE or something similar, that's not quite as high powered as like the iPhone 12 Pro Max that I've got here. You're still going to get to enjoy it really well, really as you should, and it's great. And as you go through the different levels, you interact with lots of different things. There are dragons, there are weird like monstery type things. You have to build bridges, you have to make friends, you have to be nice with friends. You can earn coins and use those to buy upgrades and things like that. I have not done that yet. I've just been plugging away at it and waiting for it to tell me what to do next. It's fun, and of course part of Apple Arcade. That is another one that I have found is useful to have an external controller for it. Not required with any of these, but it certainly can improve your experience. So just a little bit of background info about mine. Mine's the Razer Kishi mobile game controller. Specifically, you need to look for the one for iPhone. There is an Android one as well, which is USB-C, and that will not connect to your iPhone. What I do like about this, though, is on the bottom, it's got a lightning port right here, and that does pass-through charging. So if your phone is running out of battery, then you can plug in this charger, this controller, and it will charge your phone. It will not work without your phone docked inside it. So I'll just remove this old iPhone that I've got here and show people. So it's basically, two controller halves, and then there's a lightning dock in one end. And it does collapse down to be smaller. And I can't do this, of course, now because I'm on camera, but it's approximately that size. If I'm holding it closer to me in the right way around, then I can slot the pieces into place. It's a little fiddly the first time you do it, but then it just sort of clips together. There's a little clip on the back and you just pop up the clips. And I like the fact that it doesn't require any extra batteries or anything. And it is relatively compact. This is definitely something that when travel starts happening again, I could see myself chucking in my bag for a weekend trip where I don't necessarily want to take my Nintendo Switch or something big with me, but I want to be able to play some games. And so I can do that using my iPhone and this. So it's pretty good. You can get them on Amazon for around about $90. I think they're $100 directly from Kishi themselves. But it's a nice device, and I find it works really well. So both this and the Nimbus SteelSeries are good options. Of course, you can also connect an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller to your Apple TV or your Mac if you want to play on there. I can't remember. Mikah, do you know if you can connect either of those to an iPad to play Apple Arcade games? I put you on the spot now.
You can.
Yeah, I don't. What were you saying, Anthony?
You can.
Okay,
and
there you
iOS,
go.
You can. Good.
I thought it was just Apple TV.
So if you already have an Xbox or a PlayStation at home, then you should borrow one of those controllers and connect it if you want to play it with those. But if you don't have one of those like I didn't, then this seemed like a good solution to me, and I'm pretty happy I got it. It's just me playing these Apple Arcade games a little bit more fun. And a lot easier. I was considerably less frustrated with Crossy Road once I attached the controller and realized that pressing the D button actually jumped as I was expecting it to. Nice.
All right. My next one is an oldie but a goodie. Oldie but a goodie in terms of existing in the iOS app space, but new to Apple Arcade. And it is SongPop Party. SongPop Party is the game where you hear like the first part of a song and then you try to guess what that song is. So you can change your character if you want to be somebody else. I just stuck with this gal who's got a yo-yo and bubble gum. But this person looks kind of cool. Hi, Nate. I'll be Nate. And
Nate's got an iPod.
Nate does have an iPod and a backward hat. So we'll play solo just so you can see how this works. And you choose your category. So there's a genre. There's pop, there's rock, R&B, hip hop, country, dance. You can choose the year. So maybe let's do 2000s. And we'll choose essentials because that's all that's unlocked right now. As you play, you get more experience, which you can cash in for more levels. I'll choose medium just because easy I played before was a little bit too easy. And then we'll go into it. And then what your goal is to tap the song that you think it is before everybody else. And I don't know this one, but they said lady, so I think it's that.
Yep. Well, I didn't know the first one I do that one.
Sounds like Pitbull's voice.
I was going to say, that process of elimination, it doesn't sound like a woman. So
yeah. Oh, that's Usher.
Yep.
And so you can see up at the top the dots. This is us working through this level. Is that the All American Rejects?
Yep.
Oh, I remember when I lost my mind. Does that make me crazy? Don't Let Me Get Me by Pink, yes. Oh, the robot was faster than me. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me?
I am so glad I'm not playing this against you. I would really suck at this category.
Oh, that I don't like that song's on there. That artist is a grossy grosser, but we'll move on. I don't know what the name of the song is.
I think it's Move Your Feet. No, it's not. Sorry.
Sandstorm.
Sorry.
That's okay. I've heard the song.
I realized that I got it wrong, but I didn't know what it was. Thankfully, Burke is saying that we're doing pretty well. And you came first, so congratulations.
So I pulled that off and got some points on my way to leveling up. And then I could cash in those points if I wanted to as I'm going along here. You can see 2000's R&B is locked. It takes 4 keys. And I'm not actually sure how one gets keys. Because again, this is an Apple Arcade game, so it doesn't have the thing built in that you pay to get these things. So let me see. Oh, and it looks like you can play it with a controller if you want to. It's probably you have to play against actual people to gain keys. That's my guess. And there's also the party level. But
I suspect
this is SongPop Party, which is a lot of fun.
Okay, well, my next one is a bit of a throwback. So I mentioned Mini Metro at the top of the show as one of the ones I didn't pick. But to compensate for not picking Mini Metro, I picked Mini Motorways, which is their new version. And I'm just going to resume. I started this level beforehand to make sure that I was ready. So the idea is you need to connect houses to supermarkets, essentially. So you have yellow houses, which need to go to yellow places, and blue houses, which need to go to blue places. And as the game expands, more and more people will be trying to get from A to B. And so I'm kind of in the middle of the level here. I made sure to start it before the show, so we hopefully won't be sitting around for too long waiting for something to show up. So it could be that you get an extra location for people to go to, and you need to add roads, or you've got extra houses that pop up. And so you can actually reconnect things if you wanted to. So for example, I could, try and connect this blue house down here at the bottom, this way instead. That doesn't make a huge amount of sense to do, but you could do it. And I am on week 2, so I timed that almost right before. And I get some traffic lights and a bridge. Well, that's going to come in handy because I'm next to some water here. So I'm just going to wait sorry, tapped the wrong button there. I'm just going to wait for something to pop up and see what I need to connect next. So I can add traffic lights if I have a traffic problem. I don't appear to have one yet. I don't have any crossroads or anything like that I need to worry about. But there's a potential here for things to get a little bit hairy. So I'm going to just connect this store like this right here. And now you see the problem. So now I have 2 blue stores and I have 2 yellow stores. I've added some road that I did not mean to add there. So I'm just going to switch to delete mode and delete that. And I'm just going to pan, and you pan with 2 fingers. So I need to figure out how to connect this the best way. So I'm actually just going to go around behind this blue store. I'm just going to connect this up like that. Now, this is definitely not the best way of doing it. I've just added a dead end road there because I'm talking while playing. And this is one of those games that I I tend to get a little bit competitive about, and I try to make the most efficient systems. And I never win. I've played Mini Metro and so on for absolutely years, and I've still not done it. So I've got some houses over here that I need to connect. So I'm just gonna connect those in like this. Again, not the most efficient system. If I was playing this on my own, then I would do it differently. Now, what you can do with a house is you can tap on it and drag it to change the direction it connects in. And I've just done an absolutely terrible job. So I'm just going to switch back to the delete mode right there and do that. And now I've got a red store, and so you can't change the direction of red stores. Or any stores, actually, to be clear. You can only, connect them up to things. So I've just connected that to 2 blue roads, and I'm just going to tap on that and see. And this is why I need the bridge, it seems, because I need to get people from, these places over here to the everywhere else. So I'm just going to drag that over, and that's created a bridge. So now I just need to connect all of this up like that. I'm just going to tidy up that little bit of extra road there. And it seems there's a problem somewhere. Oh, there's a white store as well. So I'm going to just have to keep going and connecting this up. And every so often, it tells you a week has gone by, and that's why you're getting more road tiles, for example. And that's why I've been tidying up the extra roads I've created, because you need to go back and delete, things that you don't use or you are no longer using. Because if you've got stuff there that people aren't using, it's exactly the same as building an efficient, actual, real life traffic system or metro system. I remember doing that in computer science class in like year 9, I think probably like 9th grade at school or something. We had to like program traffic lights, trying to figure out, the way to do that without, crashing cars was tricky. And so you have to figure out how this works. It definitely requires you to do a little bit of panning around and so on. This is definitely a game that is better on a big screen. It is better on a touch screen. I would not want to try and play this game with a controller. I think that would be quite frustrating, really. But it's pretty good fun. And I like the way it walks you through things at the beginning. I did jump into the middle of a more advanced level there. But it's something that I have just really been enjoying. You don't get to rehome people either. So you can't do, for example, what the Paris metro system did, where they bought areas and they just, raised the streets and dug it down underneath and built the metro system and then built new buildings on top. You do actually have to, work around the houses and the buildings that are there. You can rearrange the buildings a little bit by turning them around like 90 degrees, 180 degrees. But that's pretty much as good as you can get. So, I'm not quite sure how the residents feel about that. I don't know. Mikah, what would you think if suddenly you woke up one morning and your house had been rotated 90 degrees?
I would think I'm having a stroke. That's what I would think. Yeah. I would go, what's going on here? Something is wrong. That's bad. And I must not be okay. Yeah.
Yes. Well, fortunately, the people in Mini Motorways and Mini Metro seem to handle that just fine. And if you like Mini Motorways, Mini Metro, I believe it's Mini Metro Plus is also available on Apple Arcade. So you can enjoy both of them. They are slightly different games, and they are indeed great fun. So I highly recommend both of them.
Excellent. My last one here is one that is just right in my wheelhouse. I love sort of simulators where you build as you go. It's like the Stardew Valley type games. It's the ones where it's RPG, but it's kind of what's the word? Low. I can't think of exactly what I'm looking for, but essentially it's not about, fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. It's about kind of gathering supplies and more like supply building. Anyway, this game is called Don't Starve. And it is that's kind of the whole point of the game is not to starve. So your whole goal is you play this little character, and you don't want your little character to starve. So I'll launch the game that I had started playing here. And you play this little kind of sketched character. And let me reconnect to the controller because once again, it has turned off on me. It's very protective of its battery. And so there we go. Now we're back in the saddle here. And as I'm moving along, I can start to collect supplies. So there was a sapling here that I collected. And the goal of this game is to, you're kind of like, it's a little Minecrafty. As you're going around, you are gathering supplies, and you will build, you can build a, what's the word I'm looking for? You can build an axe, for example. And so we'll collect some carrots and some flowers, and you can build traps. Those traps will let you get meat that you can use to eat. So your health is starting to drop up in the top right corner, and the day is going along. And as we're playing here, it will get darker. And so you get to explore and go around, and you start to, as you're playing, you gain more, the ability to create more things. So in that way, it is incredibly Minecrafty. And so I'll tap on the left here so you can see the different weapons. So I've got an axe, or I can build an axe because I've got enough sticks and enough flint. So we'll build that. He's got the axe, and he can start to chop down this tree. And I can collect the logs and the pine cones. Pine cones can be used for making, or for adding to the fire. Collect some flowers here. Those are cute. Chop down another tree. Then collect these logs. Uh-oh, it's getting late and it'll be dark soon. So let's look at building a fire. I've got enough grass and enough wood, so I can start to build my fire. And we'll put it here. And then come over and collect some grass, collect some berries, some more saplings to make sticks that I can then put on the fire to keep it fueled. So I'll tap on sticks and choose add fuel and get some seeds that the birds have left. And now watch, I can take these seeds, I can cook them and make roasted seeds that I can then eat, and they better restore my health because I've cooked them. Then I can take some of those logs that or pine cones, let's do that. We'll get closer to the fire, take some of those pine cones and add that to the fire to make it bigger and brighter. Come back over here and start chopping away at that tree again. Get some more logs. And genuinely, this is the game. You're going around and collecting resources, and you're using those resources to build out from there. So you can eventually end up building a little environment for you to live in, so that when it gets dark, you're safer from the creatures, the baddies that are out there. There are different science things. So it's funny, they call it a science machine at first. And in order to build the science machine, you need, I think that's gold and then some rocks. And so in order to do that, you need to build a pickaxe, which I've got enough to make so that you can break down rocks and create that. Here's how you build a trap with grass and sticks. So I can come over here and collect some more grass. And in the middle of the night, it's not a great time for trapping the rabbits, which is what you kind of start out with trapping. But after it gets light again outside, then you can really go to town on building some traps and collecting them. So you have to, it's resource monitoring. It's making sure that your stomach continues to be fed and that you are being safe as it gets darker. Right now, it's not quite dark. It's more twilighty. But in the top right, you can see the little icon that shows the day present, or sort of, what am I trying to say? The time that it currently is. And so it's still early. Looks like I need to redo or add some more fuel to my fire. So we'll do that. And then I'll add, and now it's raining. So when it starts to rain, you actually have to do this more often. I'll roast that carrot so I can eat that, which will give me a good amount of health or stomach. And then we can go ahead and collect some more sticks here. But
can you build shelters yet so that you can protect your fire?
Yeah, so not yet. that's the kind of what am I trying to say? That is the advanced stuff. Certainly on day one, it's not likely that you will be able to do that. But as you play, then you can start to add that to it. So that is called Don't Starve. I wish that I was further along just so I could show you kind of more of what you can do. But honestly, the first time I played it, I died so quickly because it is not easy. But yes, as you play, you get better. You're able to make more things. So that's how that works. All righty, folks. That brings us to the end of the first segment of the show, which means it's time to talk about the news. Rosemary Orchard, I hear that Apple has increased its, or not has increased, but has opened up its Find My network to third-party devices, meaning that third parties can add their items to Apple's Find My network, and individuals will be able to use the Find My app to find those devices that are out there. What are some of those devices, and can you tell us a little bit more about the Find My network?
Well, the Find My network is based, so it's kind of a combination between finding your friends or Find My Friends, as it used to be, and also that lost device thing where you, for example, have lost your phone. And so, you can go ahead and ping it. And there's, of course, part of this feature is built into the Apple Watch, and I hope this sounds. There we go. So that's the kind of thing you can do. You can ping like your phone from your Apple Watch, or from the web interface, you can ping any of your devices. And from the Find My app as well, you can ping all of your devices. So I'm just going to open the app, and then I will zoom out a little bit so that not everybody can see exactly where I live. So I can see some of my friends and family here, and then, I can see some of my devices. And if I swipe this list up, you can see I've got quite a few devices here. Is anybody surprised? I am, because I really need to go through and clear out a lot of these old devices I don't have anymore. But there's this other tab that appeared a while ago, which is, keep track of other everyday items. And of course, everybody assumed this was just AirTags. But if you go ahead and add an item, then it tries to search for it. Unfortunately, I don't yet have one of these devices. And there are a couple of different things coming out. So Belkin is releasing some new headphones, which have got Find My support in. Chipolo, which is a competitor to Tile, is releasing a new one called the One Spot, which has a little thing that you can attach to your keys, very much like a Tile. And there's also a bike company who is integrating Find My. So if you lose your bike, you can find your bike. I would really hope that you would not lose an e-bike. I believe that's Van Moof. But of course, if somebody moves your bike, or somebody steals your bike, then of course finding it.
Please, I think you mean if someone moves your bike.
Oh, definitely. I'm sorry. I missed the obvious one there. So I've signed up for the Chipolo one, but none of these devices ship before June. So that's kind of a shame. It's maybe we're going to get AirTags before then. Maybe Apple are thinking that they're going to announce AirTags in May and ship them in June. I don't know. But I did think it was very interesting that they announced all of these things. There was also a new app on the App Store. Which was so it was for Find My testing. I downloaded it and installed it, but unfortunately it doesn't actually launch on my phone, which is slightly ironic. I think it's because I'm running a slightly out of date beta. But there's a Find My certification app, which sort of demos it. And it's for, I presume, the employees of Belkin, Van Moof, and Chipolo, and maybe some other partners who are currently working on stuff like this, but don't yet have a product ready to announce. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes. And I'm hoping that we're going to see some pretty cool devices, and hopefully some AirTags as well. I personally have Tile devices right now. I've got lots of them because I have a tendency to do things like misplace my keys or my hotspot, or, anything that's important. So I've got Tile devices attached to most of my stuff that, I could lose and doesn't have another way of pinging it in there. But I'm interested to see whether or not they're going to partner with Apple on this. It would make sense. But at the same time, they have their own network of things. And I'm pleased to report that when I did indeed leave 2 pairs of house keys in a hotel in Amsterdam, by accident, the hotel informed me that nothing had been found in my room. And I said, that's interesting because somebody just walked past your reception and it says that they're right there. Should I make them ring for you? And I replied to that email, and then I pressed the button in the tile app and it made to say they were lost. And then somebody else walked past and it made them ring. At which point the hotel miraculously found my 2 pairs of house keys and offered to post them to me. I had to pay for postage. That was totally fine. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
So having tracking devices has helped me in the past, and I hope it will help other people in the future.
I just love that. That's such a good story. I mean, it's pretty, annoying that they didn't just say, yeah, we found it, but we don't want to go through the trouble or something. But the fact that you were able to be like, that's really, I don't think that's the case, is pretty nice.
Yeah, that is definitely not the case. I know that the keys are there. I marked them as lost. And then, of course, because I kept marking them as lost after they'd been found, because, of course, I didn't have them back. So every time they were going through like a hub in the delivery network and somebody there had the tile app installed on their phone, it was telling me, hey, we found your keys. Hey, we found your keys. So I tracked them all the way from Amsterdam back to Austria, where I was living at the time, by continually marking them as lost until they were actually returned to my hands, which is great. And I was really pleased with that. So I'm hoping the Find My is going to be even better, because in the Find My app, there's also the option to, I'll just pop that back on the screen, to identify a found item. I'll just switch back from dark mode to light mode to make that a little bit easier for people on the video stream. There's this identify found item. So it looks for things. So if you found something, like, for example, a pair of these Belkin headphones, and they're not yours, and as a side note, for anything like this, I always recommend like funky cases or a sticker on there, so you know which one's yours if there are multiple pairs around. But, you can try and identify it and then go, hey, I found it, and it will transmit that message back, which is pretty cool. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here.
Definitely. I wanted to mention something kind of interesting here. Samsung has announced a new app. It's a web app, and it's called iTest. And iTest is a way for iOS users to see what it's like to be on a Galaxy device. So you go to the website and it'll walk you through the process. It says, hey, you want to install this by choosing add to home screen. And what that does is it makes it so that the web app is a little bit more full screen on your phone, versus if it's in Safari, it's going to have the bar at the top and some of the other Safari stuff around it. So I tap on this and it takes me to this Samsung home screen here. And you can see it's got the Google browser. It's got the weather. I can choose gallery and see some of the photos. Here's a photo of me with a peace sign up. For those listening, it wasn't actually a photo of me. It was a photo of some stranger who ostensibly is meant
stock
to be
photo
the owner
gallery
of this
alert.
phone. Yeah, exactly. There I am, very excited in front of a Space Needle type thing. I can edit the photo, and of course, this is not a full featured thing. So as you can see, it doesn't let you do the editing here. And it lets you know kind of how these different systems work. Oh, there's a photo. That's so cute. It's a dog.
That is a very cute doggy.
And we'll go back to the home screen now. And while I'm using this, there's actually been a messages app that's texting me, letting me know about different things. So Sam messaged me first to say, welcome to the other side. Swipe up, down, left, and right to see what everything does. Tap on all the apps. Make yourself at home. It is your phone after all. Then generic friend 1 texted me to say, what's up? And then there's a little conversation, including a little GIF there. I can choose to respond. Okay, pal. And send that. And then
I like the fact that you still have the iOS keyboard there.
Yeah. And then we can go back. I'm going to say, actually, first I'm going to say new phone. Who dis? Oh, I guess it just ate my message. That's fine. They said, was that for me? Logan Dodds messaged me to say, check out the camera, put a little walkthrough for you to enjoy. So we'll go to the camera. which I guess it lets you actually take a photo. Oh, this is Logan, I guess, who's giving a tour. I just want to, there we go. We're taking a photo. There's video. So we'll go back to photo. Now I can take a photo. I don't know why it won't let me.
This is a web app rather than an app from the App Store. So there are a few more limitations to it than there are for a native iOS app. Though I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with it. It's interesting. I have seen a couple of people comment that there's no way this is a Samsung device. It's too responsive. Which feels perhaps a little bit mean. But of course, it's an interesting way of checking out the UI. And I kind of see this, I'm sure a lot of people listening to iOS today are the people that their friends and family go to when there's a problem with an app or something. And they're expected to just magically know everything and be tech support. So this could be a pretty interesting way of going, okay, well, I think if you go into the settings app, then you'll be able to find it under this menu point. Because, I'm sure people listening to iOS today are pretty good at troubleshooting. The questions we get are not the easy ones to solve. That's why people come to us, and hopefully we can answer those. But yeah, I've got this on my iPhone just because I think, tech support for other people every once in a while is going to be handy. And of course, it's interesting to poke around on Android and see what it's like.
Oh, how interesting. The touch targets just went wonky. So everything where I tap is actually like 20 pixels above. So that's kind of
Hey,
tough.
it's Sam. We just wanted to give you a quick call to say thanks for checking out the experience.
Checking.
Many iPhone users think Android will be too different.
Oh, I think it's important. Oh dear, I haven't done a New Zealand accent in a while. Yeah, so this website. I've not done a New Zealand accent in a long time, so I'm not very good at it.
It's a tricky one to get.
Right. It is based in New Zealand. Samsung was doing this in New Zealand. And so that's why everybody in there has a New Zealand accent. Let's go ahead and move on, though. I just wanted to briefly mention the iTest. So if you want to try that out, or as Rosemary has pointed out, a very good way to help out your friends and family who might be using a Galaxy device with their devices. That is a smart idea there. All right. Tell me about Scotland and its Learns for Life program.
Scotland, the first place in the world, I believe, to roll out a one-to-one iPad program, Edinburgh, large city in Scotland, capital of Scotland, is rolling out 39,000 iPads in a program called Edinburgh Learns for Life. And the idea is this is part of a one-to-one program for students between the ages of 10 and 18. So that's the end of primary school and throughout secondary education. And, the 2 years after the standard secondary education where people could do apprenticeships or A-levels or, a variety of options. So it's a one-to-one program. And it's an initiative which begins this September, and it's going to run through to the end of 2022. And they're going to issue 27,000 new iPads and 12,000 refreshed iPads to people, which is pretty cool. That's a lot of iPads. That's a lot of people who are going to get iPads as well. And I'm really excited to see that there are, governmental departments and education departments who are actually going, you know what, there's things that we've learned from this pandemic, and the fact that, people need devices is clear. And I've heard a lot of news stories about whole families trying to share one parent's smartphone throughout the day. And that means that the oldest ones are doing homework or trying to do their lessons at 10 o'clock at night. Fortunately, in those cases, it appears that teachers have been very understanding, which I'm, immensely grateful for, because, it's not the fault of the students that they don't have devices. But it's good to see that these are being rolled out for everybody, because I think to some extent remote learning is going to be here to stay. Hopefully, students will be able to get back in the classroom. Those who aren't already will hopefully be able to get back soon. And it will be safe for them to remain there. But I'm pleased to see that they're rolling out more tech for these people. And from what I've heard, it's, rolling out iPads is fairly easy. It's easy to set them up and provision them with profiles. So that, they're just set up for the students to use them. Teachers can make sure students stay on the right apps in lessons, and that the right apps are installed and things like that. So, it seems like it's going to be pretty good.
That's awesome. And then last but not least is a story here about Apple TV, where they are working to increase the number of feature films that will be available from Apple TV. This is a report from The Information that is talking about some of these changes. So it's included hiring a former Warner exec to improve the offerings that Apple TV Plus has. I have been more of a fan of their some of their shows, the series, rather than the movies that they've done. Personally, I don't know about you.
Yeah, same. So I've spent a lot more time watching the series. Obviously, with a series, there's more hours to watch, so it's not necessarily a fair comparison. But I think for a lot of people, if they're going, okay, so if I've got to pay, am I going to pay for Hulu, or am I going to pay for Netflix or Disney Plus or HBO Max or Apple TV Plus? And Apple TV Plus is definitely the one that's going to come out behind right now, just because it doesn't have as much content. And also, if you've got Disney Plus, then that means that you can get the Disney films when they come out. Okay, you have to pay the extra, $30 or whatever it is to stream it immediately as though it were in the cinema, or you can just wait until it's available and then stream it for free, which is what I've been doing. But I know that for, a lot of people, they'll switch between these subscription services and they'll just rotate between them. Because, they want to watch the new Disney stuff, including the Marvel things. And okay, that's ended, but there's new Star Trek Discovery and that's on Netflix. So I'm going to watch that on Netflix, or, whatever exclusives. And the fact that they're aiming to do another 10 to 12 original movies a year sounds quite ambitious. But then you can think about, of course, they will, not have the same cast and directors and so on. So, Apple's definitely got the money to do it, which makes sense. And they've hired away people from HBO Max and so on to do this, which is pretty interesting. So, it's going to be interesting to see, how long Apple keep renewing the Apple TV Plus subscriptions that people got for free because I know mine was recently renewed again, and I can't remember when it expires. I think April sometime. So that's actually this month. Maybe it's May or something now. But at the same time, I've been enjoying what I've watched, and I don't feel like I've run out of content yet, but that's because I also have Disney Plus and, of course, Netflix. So I've got plenty of options available to me, but it'll be interesting to see what we get. And of course, whether or not we continue to get free subscriptions to Apple TV Plus with new devices, because if you get, 6 months of Apple TV Plus with an iPhone every time and you can watch all the new content in those 6 months, then will you pay for the other 6 months of Apple TV Plus?
Right. All righty. That brings us to the end of the news segment, which means it's time for Shortcuts Corner. Ba, ba, ba. Take it away.
Well, our first, our question today, which is a little bit of a tricky one, comes from Danie, who is in Cape Town, South Africa. So Danie says, "Hi, hoping you can help with this as I'm stumped. I'm new to iOS and having used Android for the last 9 years with the Task app. I had a script set to warn me audibly if I forgot my mobile hotspot in the car or while shopping or leaving it behind in a restaurant. But with shortcuts, I'm only finding such an alert when joining a Wi-Fi network, not when leaving a Wi-Fi network. Obviously, the phone connects to the Wi-Fi SSD or SSID, that should say, of the hotspot. So I'm looking for a warning when I lose that connection. This would also warn me of the hotspot battery being flat. I've also searched the App Store, but find nothing like this at all. It seems like quite a simple thing to do, but I'm stumped. I'm on an iPhone 12 Pro with the iOS 14.5 beta. Best regards from Danie." Well, this one is definitely a tricky one. So I did some digging around, and basically what I've discovered is doing this right now with the products that Apple has available doesn't work. So I spent a lot of time trying it. I had to set up an extra home Wi-Fi network, which I was then turning off to mess with this, to see if I could get that done. And unfortunately, the answer is there isn't a way. So if somebody has a solution for that, then I would really like to see it. But what you can do is you could, and I'm just looking for something here, which is, there we go. That's not, oh gosh, all of my tiles are out of battery, which is very inconvenient. So I'll tap on this one and it's out of range, so it won't let me scale the map. So I'll just have to scroll down a little bit. So if you look at Tile has several different options available to you. And a tile can also be like a little sticker. So there's a sticker on the Skyrim, which is my hotspot. And I like the sticker option because it's just stuck on there. It's pretty small, so it's fairly inobtrusive. But Tile has a feature where you can upgrade to premium. And then you get smart alerts from Tile where if you leave something behind, so there's a little example here on the screen, smart alert, work laptop. It looks like you left work without work laptop. Whoops. Which is pretty good. So I would recommend looking into something like that. Now, this is around about $30 a year. I'm not sure what that translates to in your local currency, Danie, and whether or not there's a discount for that. Because, of course, money goes differently in different places around the globe. So you'll have to look into it and see whether or not that is worth it for you. But I have to say, I like my Tile devices. I find that they work really well. Of course, with the new Find My support coming from Apple with products coming out in June, you may want to hold out for that and see whether or not they can do this as well. Similarly, the possible AirTags, if they ever launch. But unfortunately, there's no way to do that with shortcuts, and that is a real shame. So I'm very glad Danie wrote in because I got to spend a lot of time digging around and being very nerdy and technical and coming to the conclusion that Danie is absolutely right. There is no way to do this right now.
Interesting.
So I'm sorry that I can't help you completely, Danie, but there is a possible workaround that you can use or you can wait.
That is a bit of a bummer that it doesn't have that right now. All right. Let us go to feedback now. Our first feedback comes from Paul. Paul writes in, "Hi there. Recently, I contacted you complaining about the battery drainage issues in the AirPods Max. I solved the issue by doing a hard reset on the headphones by pressing down the noise control button and digital crown for about 15 seconds until the LED flashed amber, then white. Then you pair again to your iOS device. Now, my headphones last 2 to 3 days, depending on usage, due to a software update that occurred after my headphones were delivered. My advice is if you're having battery issues, try this hard reset and see how it goes for you. Also, the battery drains a bit faster if you're using them via your Apple TV for some odd reason. So if you have an iPad or iOS device, they'll perform better with those. Otherwise, I love them, and their noise cancellation is far superior to my Bose 700s. Keep up the great work." Hey, thanks, Paul. And thanks for writing in with some tips for folks who have AirPods Max. Rosemary, you have AirPods Max, right?
Yeah, I have my AirPods Max right here. So if you're watching the video version, then I'm trying to show you my AirPods Max. And of course, my camera is focused on the wrong thing. There we go. So there's the noise cancellation button. That's the big flat one. And then you've got the volume button here. And if you just press and hold those, then the little LED, which is actually on the bottom. So if you hold the buttons away from you, then you'll see the LED at the bottom flashing and changing color when you do that. So out of curiosity, I did do this before the show just to, see, because I've had a little bit of battery drainage issues as well. So I did this earlier in the week and I was really pleased to see that my battery life has also improved. I didn't think I really had a problem with the battery life on my AirPods Max, but it's lasting longer now. So if you think the battery life on your AirPods Max is not lasting as long as it should, give this a go. It doesn't take very long to do, and then it'll repair with all of your devices using that fabulous magic that Apple have built into the AirPods series. It's worth giving it a try. Shame we need to do it, but it definitely works and it's easy to do.
Awesome. And yes, thank you, Paul. Jarrod writes in, "Thanks for the great show. I have a pretty niche question, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's no good solution. I recently picked up a second watch as my night watch to avoid the battery problems while sleep tracking. However, I use the bedtime/sleep feature, and now my alarm goes off both on the watch on my wrist and on the charger. Not ideal. I've tried turning the alarm off on the charging watch, but it always turns back on the next time it pairs with my phone. Any ideas? Thanks, Jarrod." This is interesting.
This was a really tricky one to do because I've not had a second Apple Watch in quite some time. And so I asked my parents, can I borrow one of your Apple Watches for a week? And I was not entirely surprised to hear them go, no, because they really like using their Apple Watches. So I haven't really been able to play with this as much as I wanted to. But if you have a dig around, Paul, in the watchOS settings, specifically in the health app or the alarm app, then you may actually just be able to turn off alarms entirely. And that's something that I have been trying to find out how to do. And I thought I spotted it the other day and took a screenshot. And now, of course, I'm not seeing that option anymore. But I think that this is something where you should send Apple feedback, because if you've been looking for a solution to this kind of problem, and if you're the kind of person who's buying a second Apple Watch so you can wear it overnight and get, all the data that you want, then, you would think that Apple would want to help. So you can send Apple feedback at apple.com/feedback. And that's definitely something I would highly recommend doing. And if anybody else listening to us has experienced this problem as well, then email that in as well, because the more people that email things in, the higher, bugs get rated, just because that's how things work. And now my sleep schedule. Okay, so I can show you my sleep schedule on my iPhone here. But as Jarrod, is aware, there's no way to say which alarm this should sound on. It's just gonna, sound on whichever watch, or in this case, both of them. I think that is a bug in my personal opinion. So I would highly recommend sending Apple some feedback on that, or maybe just contacting their support online and asking them how to fix it, because they might have something saved somewhere where they know how to do that and how to fix that. But as you said, once a watch pairs back, then the alarm turns back on. And I think, that's a safety feature, but that means that you're going to have to do this every single day. And that's going to be pretty darn annoying, I think.
Agreed. This is a bit of a bummer. We like to have really good answers for you, but
we do.
Alas,
we do.
Maybe consider a different option for sleep tracking.
What I do is I just put my Apple Watch on charge. So in 20 minutes, my Due app is going to tell me put my Apple Watch on charge, and I'll put it on charge from 9 until about the time I wake up, about the time I go to bed, and then I'll put it back on my wrist, and then I take it off charge, and it usually charges fully before I go to bed. And then I take it off my wrist in the morning when I get up. And now, Mikah, by the way, if I hit the snooze, thanks to your app a couple while ago, Signals, my alarms, my lights on the side of my bed flash an obnoxiously bright white to try and punish me for snoozing. So I tend to get up pretty quickly in the morning now. And then I just pop my watch back on the charger. And it's usually done pretty quickly. And I don't work out or anything straight away in the morning. Now, I will admit, I don't really do a huge number of workouts and so on. And those are things that drain the Apple Watch battery more. And I always make sure I pop it on charge immediately if there's an update, even if it's still downloading the update on my phone or whatever, I'll pop it on the charger immediately, because updates can be pretty battery intensive. But I find that I can get through, this is the latest Apple Watch, I will say, but I find I can get through a whole day and a whole night with one Apple Watch. So that might be worth trying out. And Jarrod, you might have a friend or a family member who actually really, really wants that second Apple Watch, if that is the case.
Yes. There you go. All righty, folks. That means it's time for our App Caps segment. Let's do our App Caps.
You are looking extremely glamorous there, Mikah. I'm very impressed.
Thank you, folks. This is the App Caps segment, the part of the show where we wear caps of some sort to honor our app picks of the week. These are the apps that we love, that we've been using for a long time, or new apps we've come across that we're excited about and want to share with you. And in honor of those app picks, we've got on our caps, Rosemary Orchard. Tell us about your cap and tell us about your pick of the week.
Well, my cap is not actually a hat. It is a fascinator, which for people who aren't aware what a fascinator is, it's a headband with, frippery attached to it, essentially, in one area. It's the kind of thing that you might wear at a very formal wedding or something like that. Yes, and it's even got some little feathers attached to it. So it's kind of funky. And I thought, I don't have an opportunity to wear this very often. I'm wearing it for iOS today. Anyway, onto my app. My app is made actually by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation over here in the UK, and it's called Civilisations AR. And AR does indeed stand for augmented reality. The idea behind Civilisations AR is you can explore civilizations from your living room. So you don't have to go to ancient Egypt to explore things. You can instead pick up your iPhone and it's going to try and identify my floor, which is a little bit messy. So I apologize for that, people. So it's got that. And then there's a ball here. Okay, so I'm just going to try and rearrange this. There we go. And this is a Corinthian helmet. So I'm going to tap on the Corinthian helmet and it's going to disappear. And then it's going to show me a little bit more information about it. And it's, where does it put it? It's a little bit tricky doing this because I'm tethered to my Mac, obviously, so that I can show you things. So I will just tap on the booklet option. And you can see you still got my computer background behind. So that's some NFC text below my monitor there. But it tells you about in this case, early civilizations. And it's telling me about what the Corinthian helmet is and where this particular one was found. So this was discovered on the shore of the Aegean Sea. And it goes through with a whole bunch of information, that it was made by a skilled craftsman. And it was discovered by an Edwardian antiquarian. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that word. Where you can actually find this in real life. So if you want to go and see this exact thing that they're showing you in augmented reality, then you can go see that in Exeter, it turns out. And this app is pretty darn cool. So earlier, before the show, I had a sarcophagus in my office. I didn't have a real sarcophagus in my office. That would be kind of creepy, perhaps a little bit weird. It depends on your decorating tastes, whatever floats your boat. But I had an Egyptian sarcophagus in my office and I could walk around it and I could look at it from all different angles. It was pretty darn cool. This works, I have to say, much better in my living room where there is more floor space available and where I am not usually plugged in to my Mac to try and show people things. But I like the fact that you can go through and you start very, very early on and you're progressing through time as you go through this. And so I re-downloaded and reinstalled the app for today so that I could start at the beginning. And as you can see, this is part of the theme, early civilizations, and this is artifact 1 of 7. So if I close this and then go back, the artifact is full out of view. Okay, so it's right up there. It's for some reason, I don't know why, it's picked my light as a good place to put it. I think I'm just going to tap that and see if we can do this again. So you can pick from early civilizations, the human body, faith, encounters, progress and modernity. And again, for whatever reason, it's really likes the middle of my office for this. I was really hoping it would use the floor. So my sundial, where's the sundial? There it is. Okay. Well, for some reason, a piece of paper is floated over there. So there we go. We've got a sundial, so you can scale it to see the original size. I'm going to see. I'm not allowed to move it, unfortunately. It's pretty cool. You can spin it around and see. And it's using, so there's a light almost directly above it. It's using that light to cast the shadow of the sundial. That is, the attention to detail in this is great. And then again, of course, this is the sundial from the Liverpool Road Station, which is a brass sundial originally installed in Liverpool Road Station in Manchester, not Liverpool. And it goes through and it tells you about all of these different ones. And I really like it. It's great. It's free. So go ahead and download it and give it a try. If you want to learn about areas of in history, then, this is a great way to, explore a little bit of that. If you've got kids and you want to show this off to them, then, or integrate it into a history lesson or whatever, then you can do that. And of course, then, if you scroll down at the bottom, then you can find out where you can come and see this. And then hopefully when, there is no more pandemic, you can come visit the UK and you can see all of these. And, you never know, you might run into me at one of these museums.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That is a very cool app. I'm planning on getting that just to see some cool stuff from ages and ages ago. And as you point out, especially right now where we can't go in person to see those things as easily, to be able to do that is really nice. My app cap this week is, the cap that I'm wearing is a wig. It is a black to blue sort of gradient. And the hair is rather long in this wig. I've got a pink one that is much closer to my scalp. And it's a bit of a bob. This has some some nice waves to it. So a whole different look, a little emo, maybe a little I don't know, techno gal, I guess. Mm-hmm. And look at all this hair I've got. My goodness, these luscious
I have
locks.
to say, Mikah, I'm pretty jealous of the hair.
Thank you. I've worked very hard on this. So my app this week is a new app from the developer of some of my favorite HomeKit apps. Aaron Pierce, Pierce Media Limited, makes several apps for HomeKit, including HomePass, which lets you collect your HomeKit codes and add those. HomeScan, which lets you scan for Bluetooth devices and see the signal and how close or far away they are. HomeCam, which is a great way to view your HomeKit enabled cameras. And Home Run, which is an app that lets you control your scenes using your iPhone or your Apple Watch. But the newest one, it's called Home Paper. It's available for free to download, and you will get, I'll explain in a second, it's free to download and then 99 cents to unlock the whole app. So Home Paper is a way, so I'm going to go actually back to the Home app here. And this is my Home app. And on the left, you've got your home, you've got automations, you've got Discover, and then underneath are the different rooms. And each of these spaces has a background behind it. And that background is able to be changed. So by default, Apple provides these little wallpapers here that are built into the device. But if you want to do custom wallpapers, then it can be kind of difficult to do. Because they get lost, or you might not be able to create something that looks good. This app was purposely built to let you create wallpapers for the Home app that are done in such a way that they kind of line up perfectly with the way that the Home app is built. So a cool thing too is that when this app first came out, it didn't have this feature, but now it also is tied in with the Unsplash library, so that you can find loads of different free photos. It's like stock photography via the Unsplash catalog. But you can choose your own photos from Photo Library. You can tap camera to actually take a photo if you want to, or you can tap on Unsplash. And let's say you were setting up one for your kitchen. So you wanted to do, let's go with limes. We'll do a search for limes and we'll find one that works. Let's go with this one with the limes all in a row here. And then you can change the gradient. So below the photos is a 4 box, and there are gradients that are already built in. So I might try to find a limey one here. There's a good one. But I could also change those on my own. On the left side here are 3 controls in the middle. The arrow up and arrow down lets you change which color is sort of fading to what. But then you can also tap on those circles and change them yourself. Grid, spectrum, and sliders all give you the ability. So I might want to make it very green to a lighter green, for example. So we'll do something like that, and then we'll switch that around, and then you've got that. But I'm going to go back. I actually don't like how that looks. So I'll choose lime again, and we'll try to find a different photo. I think I chose limes the first time. This time we're doing lime. And we'll find one that works for us. Let's go with... We'll pick this one. Perfect. I love that. And then you tap save in the bottom left corner. So again, the first one that you save is available for free. And then after that, you tap to unlock unlimited exports, which basically unlocks the app. Again, only 99 cents. So I'll go back to the home app. I'll choose kitchen. I will tap in the top left to choose the home button. I'll choose room settings. I'll choose from existing, and then I'll choose recents. And I will select that lime option. I can scale it and change it how I want to. So I'll pop that up in the top left or right, and I'll choose set and then done. And now my little lime wallpaper is there in the background of the kitchen. I could make one for this. So home settings, scroll down and choose from existing, and then recents. And I've got one here since I'm in Petaluma, and Petaluma used to be the chicken capital of, I think, the United States. I can't remember if it's regional or if it was across the whole United States, but anyway, chicken capital. We'll go with a chicken and choose set. And then now I've got my chicken in my Petaluma home there. I'll go back to this just so you can see again how easy it is to choose a wallpaper. So maybe I want to do one for my back patio. And in my back patio, I've got some succulents out there. So I'll type in succulent and find a good photo for that, which would be, we'll go with, I quite like this one. And then I can change the gradient to something else. See, that looks kind of cool. I mean, there's just so many options here for customization. And then I would just tap save. Now, that's the iPad version. There's also a version for iPhone. And when you do the iPhone version, it lets you, there's a setting that lets you export an iPad version of the wallpaper when you export an iPhone version of the wallpaper. So that way you can set it up on your iPhone with the background that you want. At the same time, it will export to your photo library an iPad version. So then you can hop over to your iPad and add that wallpaper to the background. Aaron Pierce originally was not going to, this was just a little utility that he had built for himself and was thinking about not releasing it. Luckily, he was convinced to release it, and so it's available in the App Store. I think it's great. It's a simple tool, but it is one that I think anybody who is regularly in the home app, or is, especially for folks who use an iPad mini, for example, as their kind of home central control unit, this is a great way to make sure those screens look exactly how you want them to look, which is pretty exciting. So that, folks, is Home Paper. Again, free to download, 99 cents for unlimited exports. And now we have reached the end of another episode of iOS Today. If you out there have feedback you want to send us, if you've got questions, if you've got ideas for Shortcuts Corner, you send those to iostoday@twitch.tv, or use the hashtag #AskIOSToday on Twitter, and we'll be able to answer your questions. Thanks to those of you who tuned in live today and hung out with us at irc.twit.tv. That's where you go to chat with us. But the way to do that, to hang out live, is by going to twit.tv/live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And that way you can be part of the live show. But of course, the best way to get the show is by subscribing. And you do that by going to twit.tv/iOS, where you can subscribe to the show in audio and video versions across a bunch of different platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. The list goes on and on, where all the places you are, or try to be at least, where you can subscribe to the show. Rosemary Orchard, if folks want to check out your work and follow you online, where's the best place for them to go to do that?
The best place is rosemaryorchard.com, which has links to all the things I do, including this podcast right here. And of course, you can also find me on micro.blog and Twitter with the username Rosemary Orchard. And Mikah, where can people find you?
You can find me at Mikah Sargent on pretty much as many social networks as I can find. I try to scoop up my name. Or you can head to chihuahua.coffee, chihuahua.coffee, where I've got links to many of my most active places. Folks, thank you for tuning in to another episode of iOS Today. We do appreciate you, and we appreciate all of you who've sent in questions and Shortcuts Corner stuff, and those of you who have taken the time to write reviews in the Apple Podcast library. We appreciate that as well. And we just thank you all for your support each and every week. And we will be back next week with more from iOS, watchOS, tvOS, iPadOS, etc. I am Mikah Sargent, and this has been iOS Today. Goodbye.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Ant Pruitt, and I want to tell you about my show, Hands on Photography, here on Twit TV. Each and every week, Thursday, that is, I like to sit down and share with you the best tips and tricks that are going to help make you a better photographer. And it's not always about Photoshop. It's not always about just having the biggest and baddest and bestest camera. It can be the simplest of things, like leave your eye open when you're looking through the viewfinder. All of these simple tips can really help step your photography game up. So subscribe to the show today. That's twit.tv/hop. And I look forward to talking to you soon.